Hello, everyone. Thank you today for joining Celebrity Customer Experience Riffs with me, Jill Raff, where we riff on anything and everything employee experience to customer experience, because I truly am obsessed with the concept of employee experience creating outstanding customer experience. And I believe and I know 100% that your business will increase revenue due to engaging committed and loyal employees and customers. So today on Celebrity Customer Experience. So why Celebrity Customer Experience? Because I believe that every customer deserves the same treatment as a celebrity, and we all know how they're treated. So today I'm going to introduce you to our guest. I'm really excited who's joining us, a super interesting guy. It looks like he's worked out some technical stuff and will be joining us in just a minute. So before that, I just want to encourage anyone who's listening in on Clubhouse. We're going to be going back to Clubhouse when this is over. So take notes. Think of any questions. If you're watching live on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, feel free to comment along the way so we can see your comments and engage you in our conversation. It's so much more interesting that way. So without further ado, I'm going to add Mike to the stream. Hopefully he can hear me. Mike, can you hear me okay?
I hear you now. Do you hear me?
Awesome. And now I hear you. So we are live. We are on, our guests on Clubhouse are hearing us. And everyone on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook are seeing us as well. So Michael J. Herman was called Mr. Motivation by Los Angeles Times, one of America's most inspirational forces by USA Today, and CBS called him motivator of motivators. How about that? And beyond that, President Ronald Reagan even called him a true American success story. We're going to hear why President Reagan called him a success story. Michael has started and run dozens of business in his 34 years of entrepreneurship. Most of them are still running and profitable. His business really spans across multiple industries, building from the ground up. Span TV and film, vending, trade shows, speaking, coaching, publishing, children's entertainment, syndication, you name it. Mike's been involved in it and successful in it. He's currently a speaker, a screenwriter, producer, syndicated columnist, author of 14 books. And with his 15th book coming out called Side Hustle with Muscle, Stop Putting Your Talents to the Side and Start Your Small Business. Mike works with large and small entrepreneurs, and his new book actually shows you how to start, launch, and run a profitable small business. So a lot of these strategies are based around the concept of profitability. So Side Hustle with Muscle delivers what everybody needs for a free enterprise and everything you can find looking for in that guide. So Mike, first of all, welcome. Finally, I'm glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Jill. It's great to be here.
Of course, of course. I met Mike on Clubhouse, actually, and we've had some very interesting conversations. So I want to have Mike share with us as well, and then we'll go back to Clubhouse and talk about a lot of the stuff. But so fascinating, your background, your journey, and I think that leads to why you've gotten some of these wonderful accolades that you have. But what people don't know is how much you've accomplished, and that you've accomplished all of this despite all odds. And you have a very interesting backstory, inspiration, and I think something that everyone can benefit from as a life lesson, motivation, really of all of us, the personal will and the commitment of what we can accomplish. So will you share with us your background so that people understand why you've been called all of those great things and how you really can inspire others, just starting out with your background, kind of your story, and then we'll dive into some of the business details.
Absolutely. So my background is in television, film, entrepreneurship, sales, marketing, retail, wholesale, wide range of professional distinctions. But my life started out at the age of 5 with a traumatic brain injury. I fell 12 feet through a platform and landed on the concrete slab below, and had four brain surgeries in 4 days at the age of 5. Then I went into a coma for 57 days. And when I
Oh.
came out of the coma, I was blind, paralyzed, and aphasic. I couldn't see, I couldn't move the left side of my body, and I couldn't speak.
Mm.
So the next year was filled with me learning how to speak and move the left side of my body again. But the vision took about a year to come back. And even when the vision came back, I had these massive visual deficits. I was legally blind. I was low vision. I had massive blind spots. One day it would be over here, and I learned to compensate, and then it'd be over here, and I'd fall down a set of stairs, or I'd fall
Oh
off
my
a curb,
gosh.
bump into a pole or a tree or something. So, learning to see in a non-sighted world, or learning to be non-sighted in a sighted world,
Mm.
was a dichotomy that took a long time to sort of learn to balance and equivocate.
Mm.
Eventually, my vision came back, and eventually, at the age of about 16 or 17, it kind of normalized. I still have low vision, but it's taught me from an early age how to be adaptive and how to be um, how to roll with the punches and evolve with changing environments and situations. I think that's been one of the key assets in my success as an entrepreneur, is being able to adapt to new situations. I mean, we were in the video game business in the 80s, and inside of 2 months, video games went away like that,
Mm.
arcade games. And then we were in another business in that for reasons with our investors, went away like that. And
Mm.
part of being a successful entrepreneur is, or a success in life, I'll even say, is being able to take the hits and keep going, fall down, get back up, no matter what happens, keep moving forward. A lot of people get stuck in the emotion and the trauma of what happened or what's happening, and not the reality of what's it going to take to make this better, get past it, get through it, and get to the next phase in my life for business.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that alone is a tremendous lesson that I think we all could benefit from. And even though I think we all know it as entrepreneurs, as business people, we all know that intellectually. But sometimes it's difficult to actually apply that and live by that. And we take a no, or I don't like using the word failure, but something not turning out as we had hoped it would, to see that as an opportunity and a way, something to learn from, and that it's just a way to tweak that and to move it to something else. That, I was always a bit of a perfectionist, and I ended up going to design school with no real art background, and I learned very quickly that things weren't coming out the way I expected because I had no background in it. But when I let it flow and I realized it could take me to a different direction, and actually usually a better direction than what I had planned in my mind, or with the direction I wanted to go in, this will to say I'm going to do this, and to be open to say I'm going to learn from this, took me somewhere much better than I would have. So, your lesson came at a much harder path, and I'm just I'm so glad. You're amazing. And so to see you here, as creative and incredible as you are, thank God, through what you went through is incredible. So thank you for sharing being so vulnerable and sharing your incredible story. And so many can learn of, what we go through is probably a fraction, wouldn't even, not that it's not significant. Everyone's issues are
But
important.
I was fortunate. I had my trauma early in life, so it was easier to adapt, to overcome,
Hmm.
succeed in spite of, than someone who has a traumatic deficit, say at 30 or 40 or 50.
Good
It's
point.
harder then. It's hard because we're
Yeah.
not young and strong and not malleable when we're older. We're
Mm,
that way when we're younger, right?
very good point.
A young doe can survive and thrive in the wild much easier than uh, an old deer can with the same kind of injury, right?
Hmm. Good
And,
point. Very good
and
point.
I,
Absolutely.
I think that the real secret to my success has been that I really don't like the word no. And I don't like people in the universe saying no to me. So when the universe said no, you can't walk, or no, you can't speak, or no, you can't see, or no, you can't uh, do this neurologically or cognitively, and I kept pounding against that wall, against that barrier, until I found ways to either overcome them or get through them or go around them or disappear them. Um, and that theme shows up repeatedly in my life and my career. When I started out after college as a TV and movie writer, producer, um, it was all no. It was, I mean, entertainment industry in Hollywood, it's all no all the time.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me because, like, to me, no was okay. No, now. What about now? And
Right.
and
Not
I
no wasn't not, it was like not now, right? It wasn't no. It was the wasn't the no part. It was the no of not now, but maybe some other time is how you interpret it, right?
I was just relentless, and you really had to tell me to stop calling, or we're not going to hire you, or we're not going to do your deal, we're not going to buy your movie, your TV show, in order for me to get it through my head. Because unless you said stop calling, I was going to keep calling you until you turn into a yes, and most often that was the case. So it became my strategy to just keep going until I get the yes.
I
And
love
in,
it.
and in entertainment, that worked. And other endeavors I've launched into, that worked as well.
Right. There's a lot of people who say, go for the no, but the
There,
meaning
there's
behind that is, you keep going and going and you're really going for that yes, but until they outright say no, leave me alone, you keep calling. And I'm a real estate agent as well and was licensed in New York and now Texas. And that was something I hate prospecting. I don't like making those cold calls. I'm a relationship person. Thus, the name of my club is, EX plus CX relationship biz. I believe that, we're in business through developing relationships. And so just cold calling was really hard for me. But it was one of those things that they say it's those people who keep calling until they get a no. It's you. Most people give up after 2 tries or 3 for sure, but it's those who persist until that 7th call, 8th call, or basically being told go away. So good for you. We can all learn from that for sure. So, Mike, I wanted to ask you one of the things that one of your secrets to success also is that you understand how to show up in ways to make you hypnotically attractive to new business. So we all love that idea, the concept, right? You're hypnotized, you're kind of just automatically drawn to business, or people are drawn to you. So what are some ways that people can create that and make themselves hypnotically attractive?
So it's changed now in COVID, right? Because before COVID, before the world changed, we could see each other face to face, and that's how more business was done. Now it's less business is done face to face, but it's still a matter of creating rapport. The
Mhm.
quicker you can create rapport, the quicker you can bring someone into your world or into your business, into your enterprise. And how do we do that virtually? Well, you have to be present. You have to be good at listening. You have to be good at hearing what is being said and what's not being said. Uh, there's a French poet, and his name escapes me at the moment, but he talked about the césure. The césure is the dramatic pause, the quiet between
Mhm.
the poetry, right? Like if you've ever read prose, or if you've ever studied Shakespeare or Rimbaud, that's his name, Arthur Rimbaud. Arthur Rimbaud talked about the césure. If you've ever studied his work, or really any of the greats, the beauty is in the pause,
Mhm.
right? But most people don't pause, right? Another way to say pause is breath or breathe. Most people are out, 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 out. They're like this. They're constantly out here rather than in here. And if you can be a listener and an absorber of someone else's energy, then that person feels related, feels connected.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first way of creating rapport is in eye contact or ear contact, listening. I hate it when I get a phone call from a salesperson and they're vomiting on me.
Yeah, speaking
But
at you. Yeah.
how often do you get a sales call that asks you questions to qualify you to even see if you're a prospect or if you're a potential business partner? It doesn't usually
You
happen.
know, yeah, but when I get those calls, and maybe because I'm knowledgeable about scripts and I understand the sales process, both from being educated on it and being on the other side of it, I think even that has to be relooked at, because I get calls and they'll ask a question, but the question will be like so rhetorical, you
That's not a
know,
question. It's a
and
script.
it drives me crazy. It's like, it's insulting. Like, oh, do you want to spend less on your on your insurance? Do you want to pay more money? Of course, everyone wants to pay less on anything that they're currently paying for, right? So I'm like, I feel like just saying, no, I really want to pay the most amount of money possible. Thank you, and hang up. Like, it's just so annoying. So I think you have to ask a question that is genuine and isn't, yes, you want to ask a question that's going to get you a yes. I understand the whole sales training and the knowledge behind it. But I think today people have become so sophisticated and so, I think, overwhelmed and inundated with all of these calls and the emails and the text. I mean, it's coming at every angle that we're so tuned out from it. We're so turned off by it that we have to be more creative now and think about how we make that initial connection.
Well, it takes between 6 and 60 exposures to get a sale. You know that, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
why we get bombarded by the commercials over and over the same day, because they want to pound their brand into your subconscious. But if you can get 6 yeses in a row, the chances of you getting a yes after that are improved. The more someone gets in the habit of saying yes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not a matter of asking rhetorical questions. It's a matter of asking the questions that will get you a yes. Um, I don't want to make up scenarios here, but you want to keep asking questions that are yes answers, that they're going to say yes. So
Right.
get in the habit of saying yes, 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 and then say, okay, are you ready to close now? Are you ready to buy now?
Right.
Would you rather the red or the blue Mercedes? Would you rather the 60-watt dishwasher or the 80-watt dishwasher? Getting
Right.
them to make a choice is also making a yes.
Exactly. And using, I think, NLP in that way, as I've mentioned in past, like in my real estate, when I would go on a listing appointment, I would speak as if I assumed that they were going to be listing with me. And so I would talk about, well, when we list the property, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what will happen. And like you said, do you want the red or the blue? You've already assumed they're going to buy something. It's just a matter of what. But to me, that feels, it is genuine. I can't do it unless it's genuine. And so, but it feels more natural. It isn't just about, it isn't insulting. And I think that's the key thing, is to really respect the person and get a yes, but in a genuine way.
Well,
Um,
Zig Ziglar had a great quote that I love. Remember Zig Ziglar?
of course. And
Zig Ziglar said, and I heard him say this many times when he was on stage, and I've seen him before he passed. He said, when he goes on an appointment, he goes assuming he's picking up a check. He goes to pick up the check. He's just going, assuming that there's a check to be picked up.
mhm.
So if you go assuming that the sales fait to complete, or the transaction or the relationship is fait to complete, you have a much better chance of closing than any other energy that you go in with.
Right. Yeah, the energy, it's true. They people feed and they sense and they respond to that energy. So there's so many things, and we're never going to get to even a fraction of the things that I wanted to talk to you about or ask you about. But I do want to touch on a couple things, since we are all about EX and CX. Um, I know that you said that you have 7 things that people should be, do, or remember in order to create that unique, memorable customer experience. So, can you touch on some of those? Maybe not all of them,
Yes.
or yeah.
So the first one is one that I discovered less than a year ago, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I call it transforming your DNA. All right. I love Mondays. Mondays are my day. I wake up on Monday at 5:30 in the morning, and I am, before my eyes open, I'm up. And about 8 months ago, on Sunday afternoon or evening, I started getting really kind of jittery and excited, and really, like, jittery is the right word. Like, I couldn't contain my thoughts, and my energy in my body was surging. And it was like that for the rest of the evening. When I got into bed, I couldn't settle down. I was so excited for Monday, for everything that I'd planned, everything that was I knew was going to happen, the things that could happen, what might happen. I was literally in bed, not able to go to sleep. And my wife tapped me on the shoulder. She said, "Settle down. You're like bouncing all over the bed. You gotta go. We gotta go to sleep now." It was like late in the night already, and I was planning to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I had to settle myself down because I felt it in my brain, in my hormones, in my physiology,
Mhm.
in my DNA. And all night I had these very vivid dreams, very, very vivid, active, um, kinesthetic dreams. In fact, they didn't even feel like dreams; it felt like experiences.
Mm.
And I woke up before my alarm. And that Monday night, the same thing happened. And Tuesday night, the same thing happened. And that week and the next week are the most productive, active, powerful weeks I'd had in months, or even longer. I mean, I couldn't remember the last time I was that up and on.
So,
And
how did you use that in terms of creating something that would help you create that unique, memorable customer experience?
because people sensed it from me.
Hmm.
People sensed. I made cold calls. I had meetings. I had Zooms. I had closings that week, and people could feel the magnetism, the electricity coming out of my shoulders and my ears and my neck and my eyeballs.
Hmm.
There was just this energy field around me wherever I went, and I think we can all do that. But it's a conscious intention that you have to um, create. You have to if you don't have it naturally, some people have it naturally, but if you don't have it naturally, you have to manufacture it from within and choose to turn that on. It's in all of us. If you can have a good day, then you can make your body have a good day. You tell yourself, you create the emotions, the images, the thought processes, the ideas in your brain, in your subconscious, in your mental process, and that converts to physiology, that converts to hormonal reactions, that converts to the electric field that's around your body that
Hmm.
people sense when you come near them or enter a room.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, for you, it came naturally. I was going to ask, what would you advise in a nugget? Because I want to get in some other things here before we wrap up. Um, how do you advise someone to get there if that doesn't come to them naturally?
I believe that you can create that by telling yourself. Most people's conversations go into most people's heads. They sound like this: "Oh no, oh me, oh why, oh, oh f," right? That's the internal conversation I believe of most people around. But if you can change your internal conversation, say,
Mhm.
"Many great things are happening today, and I'm gratefully receiving all miracles around me,"
Yeah.
or I feel great. You know what? Not right now, but the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of pain in my body. I injured myself, and I'm healing from it. And thank goodness, I'm almost all better. But for about 5 days, I was in a lot of pain, and I'm not used to that. And I kept telling myself, "I feel great. I feel good. My body feels strong. I feel light and airy, and I can feel the presence of God filling my body and healing my wounds and my injuries.
Yeah.
And because of that, my body changed, my body transformed. And you can do that with your thoughts, with your mind, with your emotions, your processes.
Yeah, I have certain mantras, and or I kind of did this resonance patterning, and so I have a list of certain things, and I say them over and over, so I remind myself. And I've gotten out of the habit. Actually, sometimes you have things up and you see them so much that you don't see them anymore because I have too much around. But I'm working on getting back into a routine with that, so that basically creating that mantra, so you are changing your thought patterns, you are changing your internal dialogue. So I think that's the key takeaway with that. And I just want to quickly get to, and then we're going to go back to Clubhouse, because I want to Adele, thank you for joining. And I don't know how to pronounce your name. I hope I'm not messing it up there. Jen Chin. I want to get back and involve them in the conversation. They've been so patient. You talked about how to run business in ways of growth and profitability. Can you just give us a couple of quick nuggets on that?
Sure. So my number one rule is, it's not about you. It's about your customer. It's about the experience. It's about what they come to get from you. I read something recently by a former SBA administrator that said that the purpose of business is to make a profit. So if the purpose of having a business is to make a profit, where does the customer fit in? In my opinion, the purpose of being in business is to provide a service or product that benefits the customer. If you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a product or service that benefits the customer, you're not going to have a business. So the essence is to make the experience of dealing with you or your brand or your company or your service or product about the customer, about what they're going to get out of being engaged with you. It may seem Pollyanna. It's really very basic. But whether you're Macy's or Walmart or Target, or you're a kid on a lemonade stand, what's the object? It's to deliver an excellent experience. Virgin Airlines. I was on Virgin Atlantic a few years ago, coming back from England. The experience was amazing because from the top, Richard Branson, down to the mechanic, there's a culture of deliverability. Deliver the experience. Steve Wynn at Wynn Resorts in Las Vegas had a philosophy that if the customer isn't happy, they don't pay for their night. I've seen it happen at his resort.
Wow.
It's not ubiquitous in America or in the world, but if you can make the experience of engaging with you something that is repetitive, something that is desirable to come back to, your customers, your business will grow.
100%. Thank you. And that's a great way to actually kind of come full circle, because we talk about everything related to relationship, business, employee experience, customer experience. And and you mentioned before about face to face at the very beginning. So coming full circle, I just also want to mention that you have an ebook as well called Anyone Can Do It: Everything You Need to Know About Face to Face Selling. And maybe we're not physically face to face anymore, but we still are face to face through Zoom and these other apps that we use a lot of times for our meetings, for our introductions. And in a minute, we're going to jump back to Clubhouse, and really excited to see a lot more people join the room. And we're going to continue the conversation there with a lot of the other things that you have to offer from your experience is huge. So, Michael, I want to thank you for joining. I want to make sure that you are honest with Clubhouse so that people can ask you questions there. I'm looking now. I don't see you on Clubhouse. So please make sure you join us on your phone on Clubhouse.
How do I go into Clubhouse and find your room? That's what
So I pinged you already. So you should get the link.
Can I go into it now while I'm still?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm pinging you one more time. So definitely you should be able to see that and join us there.
Okay.
So, anyway, I want to thank everyone today for joining on Celebrity Customer Experience. And if you are not, it looks like, oh, I lost Michael's picture. So if you're on the live stream, Michael, we don't see you anymore, but I want to thank you for joining us on the live stream today. And we're going to close out in just a minute with a quick close out with the logo there. I put Mike's LinkedIn handle out on the screen. So anyone's watching there will know where to go to check in and connect with Michael. Very interesting. You've only heard a tip of everything that he has to offer from his experience and experiences in business and life. So make sure you go connect with him, connect with me. And if you're on Clubhouse, please go and join us right now on Clubhouse. We're going to be closing down here in about 5 seconds or so, and I will see you over in Clubhouse next Thursday. Another guest here for the live stream. So thank you again, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate it and look forward to continuing that conversation. Thanks so much.